Welcome to the Live Well, Love Strong podcast. And this morning, I am so excited. I know that I say that every single time, but I have been chasing these two lovely ladies for months now, and I finally got them both on at the same time. And so I'm so excited. This morning, we have Angela Kimble and Tenika Combs. Welcome, y'all.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, definitely our pleasure. And thank you for inviting us.
Oh, I'm so glad to have y'all.
Super excited.
Yeah. Okay. Can we go? Let's start with Angela and then Tanika. Can you tell me just a little bit about your journey and how how we cross paths? Like how did we get into the same into the same community, which I'm glad we're in.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, whoever wants to go first. I just want to know a little bit about your family and your life and kind of like what makes your heart go. What are you working on?
All righty. So, as you said, I'm Tenika Combs. So, I am mom first. I have a blended family. So, I have Brian Griffin, who is my 23-year-old amazing guy on the spectrum, and I'm the founder of God Advocacy, a wife. I've been married to my husband for a while, and he's super amazing. And God Advocacy is just a formulation of me walking parents through the path of the journeys that parents on the spectrum and individuals that have special needs kind of walk. And then you and I cross paths in the holistic workspace. So definitely everything that we do as far as our journey and finding practical solutions, strategies to support, our health and our well-being and our mental health and everything comes from a holistic workspace. And so we connected through
Yeah,
one of those circuits. So
I love
super
that.
excited to connect with you on
Yeah.
other things.
Me too. Awesome. Okay, Tanika. Angela, tell us just a little bit about you, girl.
Okay, of course, I'm Angela Kimble, and I'm a mom first as well. And also, I have two boys on the spectrum, grown men. I have my Mr. Trey, which is 27 years old, and I have Jalen, is 24 years old. And I'm also in the community. I have a lot going on myself. I'm an advocate for both my boys. I'm a part of a couple of nonprofits that I deal with as well and foundations. I also have my coffee talks once a month, uh, every other every other Tuesday. Well, once a month on Tuesdays, and we just come together and we kind of share information and get the information out there for parents to have and be able to get viral information about your kid and knowing your rights as a parent. I think that's so very important. So we just don't come at the coffee talk and just, you know, laugh and cry and stuff. We do things that are helpful to our parents and be able to help them along their journey as well. But the coffee talk is a place where you can come and just tell your feelings, and I want there to be a comfortable space for some of my mamas. That's actually how me and Miss Sarah cross paths.
I was gonna say, can I tell that story? We're
She
not
sure
just
can.
ladies who are lunching. We're talking about real important things. And I've shared before on the podcast how when Mary Elizabeth was younger, and even now, support groups, quote unquote, are very intimidating, and I don't want them. Like, I don't want to be part of them. There's been some sort of like internal no that's always come up, although I need the support. And so when I kept seeing the coffee talk on my social media and Angela's sending it, and I've never met her. I just, we're part of, we're kind of like circles, like in living in our worlds, and our outsides of our circles are touching a little bit. And I had had a really hard couple of months with Mary Elizabeth and some other life stuff. And I was in the trenches. Like when we talk about the mama stuff where it's really, really hard, I was past that. And my person, my sitter, my helper was like, "Hey, get out of the house. Like, you just need to go. So you can go do whatever you want, but you're not staying here." And I didn't quite know where to go. And it just so happened there was a coffee call that morning. And so I was like, "Okay, I'll just drive myself to Katie and go." And y'all, I showed up and Angela actually met me outside. We have never met before at this point, and she didn't know who I was, to be quite honest, and I didn't really know who she was. And she came outside, we made eye contact. We had that soul to soul mom connection that happened in that
Mm-hmm.
moment. And she gave me a hug that lasted longer than 20 seconds, y'all. And y'all know how much I like long hugs. And I just felt in that moment the way I have felt in other moments where I have had like a complete God, Holy Spirit experience. I felt warm. I felt wrapped up in love. I felt safe. I felt protected from this random mama at a coffee call, at a coffee talk. So anyway, Angela, welcome, thank you. And I can say from personal experience that um, this lady is the real deal.
I thank you, Sarah, so much. Like I'm almost in tears, and I can't cry on this podcast,
No, we're not
but
crying this morning. We're advocating, right?
I'm telling you, you are dead on. It was like a energy of God that day. Like it's unexplainable.
You felt it. I felt like we both felt it. I felt like you were giving it. I don't know what happened, y'all. I'm saying.
We don't know, but we are God gifted sisters
Okay, I
together,
was gonna say
and
she's
this
been
is how we gonna stay.
my
Yes, I
sister ever
just
since, right? And
yeah.
Tanika and Angela are BFFs and sisters, and so I've been trying to get Tanika to be my sister as well.
Hey, we're all sisters in Christ.
That's right.
Okay,
That's
all
right.
right. Let's talk a little bit about some of the good stuff that why y'all
Okay.
are here. These two ladies have brilliant minds and are really skilled strategic advocates for our community. Um, Tanika, for families caring for loved ones with disabilities, Medicaid and Medicare can be confusing, overwhelming, and I believe there are systemic things put in place to block us from accessing it easily. What are some of the key benefits of these programs that caregivers should be aware of?
So one of the biggest things is understanding the difference on how you qualify for both. So Social Security versus Social Security disability. So those things, we know that there's Social Security that's out there for individuals that have bought into it. We pay a tax, it comes out of our check, all of the things, and we get a retirement age and we are eligible for Social Security, and we become Medicare eligible, right? In
Right.
retirement. So, but our individuals that have disability, like our kiddos, are eligible for what we call Social Security disability. So, with that is a Medicaid eligibility. And what's attached to that is our long term care services.
Yeah.
So, everything that we need in the working, the therapy, the medications, the dental, the support services, the residential care, caring for your child in your own home, all of that's going to fall under what we call Medicaid waivers. And unfortunately, we live in a state that has long time Medicaid waiver wait list. My son is 23. He got on the list when he was 4, and he just received his waiver in December.
Wow, congrats. Okay, quick question about how that works, just for our listeners. So, Medicaid waivers are for people with a lot of medical complexities,
Any kind of disability.
any kind of disability. And the waiver part is that they waive your income so that you can receive Medicaid as a benefit because of the disability. Is that right?
It's got a catch to it
Yeah, say
because
more about it. I want to get into the nitty-gritty for our mamas listening.
yes, so when your child is under the age of 18, right, to
Mhm.
qualify, there are income limits for Social Security. And it always gets us in a catch 22 because most of our families are working families. And
Right.
where you almost have to be almost at poverty level to like
Yeah.
qualify with for Medicaid on its own
Right.
without Social Security, right?
Mhm.
And so, but when they become 21, what we start figuring out from 18 to 21, your income doesn't matter anymore for their qualification. So that's a big piece that people don't understand because they've applied before when their kids were under 18, they've been denied because of income and they don't go back to the table.
Mhm.
So you got to come back to the table because at 18, you need to know that your income, because now they're saying this is an adult child living in my home caring for their self financially. It's
Mhm.
the weirdest thing how the government states it. So we're kind of not waiving some of that income all the time because as an adult, there's no income that's qualifying them for the parents. So those are the two differences,
Okay.
there are definitely some income limits.
Okay. Who funds these waivers? Like, how are these waivers paid for?
So they're paid for under what we call Health and Human Services. So you have Health and Human Services, that's the federal entity that houses our Medicaid eligibility. And each state has different regions of what we call LIDDAs, which are your local intellectual developmental disorder authority. And so if
Mhm.
you're in Harris County, it's the Harris Center. If you're in Fort Bend, it's called the Texana Center. If you're in Montgomery County, it's called Tri County. So that's where parents start. That's your starting line. So
Okay.
you call your local LIDDA and get on the wait list as soon as you know your child has a disability. They determine the eligibility for what the criteria is, and that's when the wait list starts. And there's several brackets of wait lists. So you
Right.
want to make sure you ask to
Mhm.
get put on every single one of them.
Every wait list. Yeah. I
And
love
so
that.
it's
Everyone.
not an all in one registration. And so I was just talking to a parent the other day. Their child was in the 20s, and they were like, I didn't know that I had to do a separate wait list for class.
Yeah.
And so class is one of those that have some. They all have different complexities of what they offer. But what I tell families, because it's complex, and you don't need to know all the nuances, but just know that when you get called on HCS, which is the Home and Community Based Services waiver, that's the big enchilada,
Right.
and that's the one that has the longest wait list. So if other wait lists come into play, like Texas Home Living, um, if your child qualifies for the medically dependent child program, that's another classification. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of different brackets, and we can definitely share some of that information if you have information.
Yeah.
Just
We
that gives
definitely
us
will
like
put some,
a
yeah.
crosswalk of comparison, a comparison chart.
Yeah, we'll put some links for that so people can know. But the information for the families that Tanika said that I think is most important is that you go to your local LIDA and then you apply for everything that your person would qualify for now and or in the future.
Right, and there are some new bills that have come out, and one of them was through the Hanley bill.
Hmm.
They actually have something put in place, and I have that form somewhere, where now they're requiring school districts at the conception of your child as a diagnosis, giving that information to be put
Oh
on.
wow.
And it's
Yeah. So
very detailed, and that's a new thing that has just happened here in Texas, and that information is on the TEA website as well. And that's a very big step for us because parents are looking at school districts to have all the information and to be the guide, and sometimes they just don't know.
right. Yeah, yeah. Or they just don't give the information out. And so then kids fall through the cracks and parents yeah, we don't know what we don't know until
Yep,
someone tells us. So
yep.
okay, thank you for that. Um okay, so is there anything are there any other like laws or system type things that parents need to know if they have a child with a disability and they're going to their LIDA to apply for Social Security disability and Medicaid? Is there anything else that they need to know? Any specific documents they need to have? Like, what's it going to look like for a family with
So
a go up.
So going to the LIDDA, you especially if you've already received a diagnosis.
Hmm.
If you have a diagnosis, whether it's private from a psychologist that you've paid privately or had your insurance cover, or if the school has done a full individual educational diagnosis, those are very important because
Okay.
what happens is they can take that information and dissect it, and what they're looking for is an IQ level to be qualified under IDD services.
Yeah.
And so, but also parents need to know if there is some gaps there, and maybe your child has some mental health issues that may not necessarily be attached to having an intellectual disability. There is another sector of those LIDDAs that deal with mental health. And
Okay.
so you want to make sure that you're having the right conversation because sometimes when you go to those LIDDAs, that IDD side is a total different side than the mental health side. There's two different entities under that LIDDA.
Okay. I like to hear that. Can you let us know what IDD means for the people that maybe
Intellectual developmental disorder.
thank you.
So your child that has some neurodiverse needs and their IQs are at a certain level, those qualifications are over here. But then if you have some other mental health diagnoses like bipolarism,
Right.
schizophrenia, some of those type of classifications are going to fall on the mental health side. And
Okay.
so there's a small gap that a lot of times people are not sure of. But you have to be clear when you call in because
Hmm.
unfortunately, they don't always have the right information to give you
Yeah.
when you're calling in.
So you have to be clear which side you're going for, is what.
Yes.
Okay, got
Yes,
it.
if you're calling in and you know your child has some intellectual disabilities, you want to make sure that you're saying, I want to do an
IDD.
intake for IDD. It's very
Okay.
specific.
Yeah,
And there's
thank
a
you.
different process. There's a different process, which is the reason why that's so important.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Okay. I love it. All right. We're going to switch gears for just a second, Angela, and I'm going to ask you a few questions about adults. Your boys are both very handsome and grown.
Yes,
A lot of
ma'am.
a lot of families worry about what happens to their loved ones after they turn 18. We've heard on this podcast from other moms, services drop, access to therapies go down, insurance starts denying. um, what happens? Like what workforce solutions or transition programs exist for young adults with disabilities?
I'm going to be very honest with you. They don't. And the ones that do exist, like Tanika just spoke on, class, HCS, things like that. That's the only way I was able to get therapy for my boys and get things going for Trey and Jalen. And of course, I didn't get it started until they were grown. Like
Right.
Tanika spoke on a few minutes ago, the list is tremendously long. I
Yeah.
put Jalen on there at 2. He got approved at 19.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. We've been on for 12 years and we're like 60,000 down right now.
Yeah. And then once Jalen got approved, okay, of course the doors open up for therapy and things like that, but you can't keep a therapist.
Right.
You can't keep things, so that's a problem in that area too as well, but the services are there if you're able to be on that waiver program or be on that list and get your kid in that program or else you have to come out of your pocket.
Hmm.
And if that's the case, most parents, and I don't care what kind of job you got, what kind of income, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I think people don't understand that. Let's talk about that for just a second. The perception and the actual reality of what's going on in our specific families. Everyone that I know that has a kiddo like Mary Elizabeth and or on the autism spectrum with a syndrome, we are all working families, like Tanika said.
Or creative working families. We had to
Yeah,
be
Creative
creative
working
in the
families.
work
yeah.
we do so we could qualify and make sure that we stay within the income limits at certain times and space to make sure our kids could get what they need.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's so unfortunate.
I work two side jobs. Yes, totally. So we are all working. We are all working very hard. Like I have not met another group of people that work harder than special needs moms. Like
Huh.
moms in general, but special needs moms, we win. Like there's nobody that works harder. I just I would like to, yeah, we could fight on it.
Yeah.
So
Sarah, let
you
me
have
jump
to have
in
a lot
there.
of money to be able to do therapy for a kiddo like ours, right? It's not like it's not even middle class. It's like upper middle class to be able to afford to do the therapies for your kids if you're not on a waiver program. We're talking 70, 80, $100,000 a year out of pocket cash, right? Okay.
And
So
one of the things that's more important that people need to know is that the way the state is set up, like our commercial insurance, when we're going to look for services that we need for our individuals that might have like be on the spectrum, so those services under your commercial insurance falls under behavioral health. What does that classify as?
right,
That classifies as the same classification of substance abuse,
right.
people that need to
Mhm.
go in treatment facilities due to maybe like alcoholism or drug abuse and things like that. So it's a weird qualification that's out there. And so, what the commercial insurance is going to approve for the frequency of services looks
Right.
different than if you're on Medicaid.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So
the
true.
weirdest thing. And then those,
Mhm.
even if you are on your own private insurance and you're, say, we're going to therapy 3 or 4 days a week, we got a copay every time we go
That's
under
right.
And
commercial
not only
insurance.
that, you have a
Can
limit.
afford
So
that.
because we have good private health insurance, we have Medicaid as a secondary, and we go through our therapy services because they combine physical, occupational, and speech. We're done by February.
Yeah.
We've used every single visit that our private insurance gives us by February. And so then, yeah, but then we're paying out of pocket.
And that's a creative thing because you have to make sure if you're going to couple both of those insurance that those providers accept both of those commercial and private, I mean, in Medicaid. And that is always a very hard thing to find Medicaid approved vendors because the state approves some of these services at the lowest rate known to
Right.
man, which is like, it's ridiculous.
Yes. So
Mhm.
Texas, I want to talk about Texas for just a second,
Oh,
and
it's
there's other
horrible.
states that are doing it as well. But like I said, we have good private insurance, and we can't pick our own doctors because we have to, we have Medicaid as a secondary, which we're grateful for, and it is a lifesaver for our family. So uh, I'm not saying anything bad about that specific part, but Texas does not pay its providers to do Medicaid, and so you can have a physical therapist that's getting reimbursed, let's say $146 per session with Blue Cross Blue Shield private insurance, and Medicaid's going to give them $56. And so then they're not going to take us, right? And so,
Doesn't make good. It
That
doesn't make
yes.
business sense to
with the
have that.
PhD, and I mean, I'm using real numbers because I
You
had that
are.
thing,
Yeah, you
right?
are.
We've
Yeah.
lost our physical therapist in the last year. For that reason, we've lost speech therapists, we've lost private doctors, we've lost neurologists, we've lost GP doctor. Like we've lost everything because of that particular fact of that we're not the state is not paying providers at a rate that they can survive. So, Tanika, can we talk about why that might be the case?
And it's one of those things that this is always a big fight. I mean, when you think about Texas on a whole, I mean, we can go all the way back and start talking about the minimum wage. We are still at $7 and something an hour, which is so
Mhm.
bizarre.
Right.
And so on that level, that kind of stuff just rolls over. It just rolls over into all of these
So
other
it's
buckets.
from the system's
it's
big
the it's
than
the
when
state's
we started.
perspective
Yeah.
because when we go to other states who do things so different, I mean, there's other states that you can go to. I'm from Arizona.
Oh, that's the best. That's on my wish list. Yeah.
They're the top five. Nobody
California.
told me when I moved here by way of California. They're both in the top 10. I moved here to have the bottom five. And
Right.
so in states like that, your kids go and they get diagnosed. They have 30 days to start services for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's illegal in those states for there to be wait lists for
Yep.
people with a disability for services.
Yep.
Why are we breaking all the rules of I mean, ethics here. Like, if you really
Yeah.
want to talk about
It's
laws,
ethics.
these
Yeah.
are
No,
ethical laws that we have
right.
not thought about in the state of Texas, and that's why I'm in this space. I do spend a lot of time in this season of my career, and being able to be that voice to go to the Capitol and have those
Yes.
conversations to talk about, like, why can't we make a uniform standard for all states to follow? Like, it's so crazy, but it's the same thing when we think about school districts in the state of Texas.
That's
Everybody
right.
operates with a different, scheme of things, and it's like we need to have one standard that follows one law and one rule.
That's
Right.
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 That's
And
right.
that law and that rule needs to respect and include people with disabilities.
Yes,
And
and
Sarah, I'm gonna piggyback off what you said just a little bit ago when you was talking about, losing therapists and things like that when you don't have the money of a mom that has two on the spectrum. Every time we turn around, we never have services because every time Jalen gets a therapist, guess what? They go away because of
Right.
not being paid and not being. We haven't seen respite pay in almost 5 months.
Yeah, I believe
So
it. I mean, I want to put my eyes up like it's a shock, but it's not. But it is it should be a shock to everybody
it should
else.
be a
Why we're
shame. It's a
talking about this.
shame.
same.
It's a shame.
You
It
you
really
expect
is a
for
shame.
somebody to come and take care of your kid, but you don't pay them. But you want them to come out and get this and take care of your kid, and for you to get a break, you don't get a break because your provider's not being paid because of the services, and
Right.
it's such a headache. It's
It's
so
really
sad.
it's really sad. And like for people who are on the outside of our group, just an example of what we're saying of like Texas specifically, but lots of other states too, don't put, they're not paying people what they're worth. And so what happens is those services go away and then we don't get them, right?
Yep.
And like that's what they want to happen, right? I mean, that's the goal. And so um for example, we have respite. So Angela talked about respite. Respite means rest. It means a break for the mom. I'm not allowed to work during respite. I'm not allowed to leave the house. I can like take a shower. I can eat lunch. I can go to the bathroom. Like those are respite kind of things. And they pay my respite person, well, initially they were paying her $8.03 an hour. A couple of years ago, they moved it up to $10. This is someone who has a college degree, who has been working in this industry as a care provider for disabled people for over 10 years. Um, Recently, the state did a wage increase
Yeah. Right.
respite people. And I already knew when they said that, I was like, that's going to hurt us. I just don't know how yet. Um, I've had the same person, so this is easy data to use. She, with her wage increase, because they did increase her hours to like increase her rate to $11.16 an hour. But they reduced our hours. So the net
Oh yeah.
income is Texas makes $150 off my respite person every month now because that's how much less she gets paid since they gave us a wage increase.
Which is insane.
Right. And like, but it's like if people don't know this, because like I had people tell me, like, oh, congrats, Texas is doing good. Oh,
Excuse me. No, they're
No,
not.
no, no, no. Right.
No, no,
no.
no, no, no. It's like it's purposely being done. Like I can't explain it. Like it's a lot.
It
and
is.
and the level of asking somebody, and I know Mary Elizabeth has other needs, more extensive needs than my Bryant, but he's got had some behavior challenges, and the reality is I'm not letting anybody come work with me and my son for
That's right.
$10 an hour.
That's
Right.
right.
Thank you for saying that because, like, an average mom listening to this, you can't get a babysitter for your neurotypical normal kids who are sleeping at night for
That's right.
$10 an hour.
That's
No,
right. That's
on
right.
care.com or
That's right.
anywhere in America.
Right.
That's right.
But Texas thinks it's okay to pay these people $10 an hour to care for the most fragile of the most fragile children in our state.
Mm-hmm. Or to be able to just, if you have a kid that's all over the place, who wants to come out and get I don't want to come out and get paid $10 and I gotta run and catch your kid over a fence.
Right. Yeah, no,
Like,
right. Totally.
And
Yes.
here's the other
crazy.
thing that we also need to talk about too. So when we talk about, so your kid gets on. Let's go back to Medicaid waivers for a little bit.
Yeah.
So your kid gets on the list,
Yeah.
right? So what happens next is that they already know that you have a disability, but they're going to do what they call a disability of intellectual disorder. So they're
Yeah.
going to still do their own
Right.
assessments to make sure they
Mm-hmm.
qualify. And then they
Mm-hmm.
do this sheet where they do like some scales and ratings and inventory to determine their level of need.
Right.
And based upon that level of need is going to determine how much they're going to
Care.
pay for some of those services. And Texas has this thing that we always start everybody at the lowest level, even
Right.
though this person might have come in on a crisis,
That's
because we
right.
have things called a crisis diversion
Like
waiver
I was.
where there's a crisis of this individual being at risk of going into institutional care. And so,
Right.
by way of that, the state has done something, and there's been some exceptions where they've gotten an expedited waiver.
Hmm.
And they still bring them in at a lower paying level, even though we know this individual needs one on one care.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I mean, y'all seen my kiddo. She is the highest level, level 5. We did the Rider 28, money follows the person, which means we went into an institution and stayed there with her. Um,
I did too with Trey.
oh, so you did the emergency too. And then we got home and we didn't qualify for skilled nursing. They were like, she doesn't qualify for skilled nursing. I thought that it took me almost 5 years to get skilled nursing. Um, yeah,
That's ridiculous.
That is crazy.
It's
That
so
is
insane. And it's like, who is in the background pencil whipping on paper? Like,
right. Not even,
who's
I mean, like, it's
who
not
made
even
this
like
decision?
insurance companies, when they deny, like, let's say they deny a neurology thing, it's a gynecologist, right? Like, denying neurology. For here, it's not even people with like, it's just random people. They don't even have a medical professional expertise background. They're just like, nope.
It's really ridiculous, but our systems here in the state are broken.
Right.
All
screwed
of
up.
them. It's not
Yeah.
just Health and Human Services. When you talked about some of those other services that are eligible for individuals that are in transition, that are
Right.
in adults,
Yeah.
transitioning to adult. So some of those services also are available through what we call the Texas Workforce Commission's
Yeah.
vocational rehabilitation. And so this is something that I really want to make sure that people are aware of because no one knows what they
Right.
offer. So
Right.
just like in school, we have goals for educational goals under our individual educational plans, under our IEPs.
Hmm.
Well, Texas Workforce, once you go in there to decide what eligibility your child has during the intake, they do what we call an individual plan of employment, and they determine a goal. And sometimes we're going to determine that our individuals aren't ready for work,
Right.
and they're not ready for work, but maybe we need some help with therapy.
Yep.
Maybe we need some behavior supports.
You can get that through TWC.
If you go in and
Good.
make your known clear, you make your request known of what the needs are. And some
Excellent.
of them are kiddos that are getting out of school and they're super smart and they want to go to college and get some kind of certifications. I mean, they do that as well. And then
Good.
some
Okay.
of them need support in independent living care.
Yep.
Hmm.
How do we
Yep.
develop some of those soft skills, social skills to eventually be able to live with some level of independence in society? And so there's a lot of areas there that we just don't explore because no one's giving us the guidebook to say this is a list of services that your child could be offered over here.
Right.
So
Yeah.
hence why they probably don't like me a lot because I'm an advocate first and I'm going to tell you all the things that you need to ask for and all they can do is say no, but if you never ask you're never going to get a yes.
That's right.
Yeah, that's so true. That is so true. And if you don't show up, yeah, I mean, you've
That's right.
a big fat no. So, okay, so when your child is first diagnosed, you show up to your LIDDA. You ask about Medicaid, you ask about Social Security with disability. if your child has an intellectual developmental disability, you say that. If there's a mental health thing, you say that. If it's both, you say both, or you want to be evaluated for both. Your child is approaching 18, you go to Texas Workforce Commission and you ask for, what did you say?
So you do that, you do this in high school because they're eligible for services
Hmm.
depending on what some of those services are offered as low as 14 years of age.
Okay, 14.
And
All right.
so there are some collaborations where every ARD meeting that you go to and you have a transition ARD, they're going to give you their information because there is a community collaboration with those agencies where some of that transitions over to Texas Workforce. However, that brochure is given and nobody knows what happens after that. But you need to go through that process because maybe we're struggling with some behaviors. We could get some behavior supports through that. No one knew to ask that because, of course, we can't get Medicaid to pay for behavior supports because there's wait lists.
Yeah, so that's really smart, mamas. Tanika is basically giving us a workaround for supports and services that are there that are really hard to access. And so there are maybe some different ways to do that. Okay. Angela, can we talk a little bit with you about what is a day hab? And can you explain kind of why it's so important for our adult and, growing young adult kids with disabilities?
Yeah, the day hab is a place where you go, where your child goes to get services, and it's not really like services. It's a place where you're gonna go, and somebody's there to keep an eye on your child. As I'm gonna use my son as an example. Trey's in a group home, so he has day hab during the afternoon. He goes there and he'll do like activities that they have there, or they may go out into the community. You
Hmm.
know, my Trey, he likes to be going a lot. So they try to make sure that he's out and about a lot in the community. So
Hmm.
with that, with those services being in the day hab, it works out perfectly for him because he's a he likes to be on the go.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for him. But some days when you're not on the go and you just want to have a setting to where you can go and sit, get some activities learned, read some books, the ones that can, and ones that can't, they have other things for them to do. So there's just a whole platform on all levels in that they have so they can have something to do and be able to go out into the community.
Okay.
Trey,
So it's kind of replaces school, really, ish.
kinda
It's
ish, yeah. And you can still go and get your child out of that day habit if you want to. Just say, for instance, if you want to go have some lunch, I would go pick up Trey out of the day habit because he's there Monday through Friday. When he
Okay.
gets up from their group home, they get up in the morning. They schedule is routine, so they get
Hmm.
up in the morning and 5 o'clock. They're showered and bathed. I mean, showered and breakfast and everything, and they're out the door for day hab at no later than 7 o'clock. And so
Okay.
he's there from 8 to 2 o'clock or
Okay.
8 to 3. And then so in between those periods and times, sometimes he might have a meltdown. Sometimes it might be some things that's going on. So sometimes they will just take them out and about and let them get exercise around the building if they don't have a place to go. So they try to
So,
keep them active.
okay. So would someone like Mary Elizabeth be able to go to a day hab like that? Is that,
It
is it for kind of like a wide range of different abilities? Yeah.
of course, absolutely. Very wide range of abilities for her. And it's just not for autism.
Is
Wheelchair all
right.
spectrum,
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was
special
wondering. So
needs.
is it covered by insurance and or Medicaid?
So that's a trick question.
Yeah.
Both. Answer
So
that, Tanika.
it does cover both. So what it has. So there's a difference between what we call day hab, and then under our some of our Medicaid programs like HCS, which is Home and Community Based Services. They've renamed it. It's
Mhm.
called Individual Skills and Socialization, and
Hmm.
it's kind of like the service model to kind of replace day hab. But there's other waiver programs that you have day habilitation, and then be careful because there are places that are called adult day care,
Well,
Yes, that
that's
part.
what I
Yeah.
was trying to figure out.
and some of those might be like a private pay. They might not be licensed.
That's
Right.
right.
So if you see anything that's under what we call ISS, which is that individual skills and socialization, there is a specific license that that entity holds.
Hmm.
And I'll give you an example because Brian just started a program as well. And so his looks different because every program has a goal. Like we have goals in place with what we need. And so for Mary Elizabeth, hers might be geared towards more medical support or personal care
Yes.
Right.
support, where, Bryant's is, trying to get some more vocational support and getting access to visiting different job sites in the community to
Hmm.
get some of that, not just a social integration, but work on some of those skill sets to see if
Right.
we're
Mm-hmm.
working on our soft skills, but we're also socializing with our peers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so important. Like that's what I keep thinking about for Mary Elizabeth, and all the moms keep telling me because she just turned 15. Of like, what are we going to do when we're not going in person to therapies, or we're not going in person to these different things? And yeah, we're already so very isolated. I can't imagine what would happen if we didn't get a chance to see our friends and our peers in the community at least once a week.
I know.
Yeah, and some of those day programs do allow integration and collaboration with therapists. So,
Hmm.
like, they will allow your therapist, like where
To
Brian
grow
says,
and
some
be
of
a
those
therapy
individuals,
professional.
their
Yeah.
behavior specialist comes on site with them.
Hmm.
But he also gets behavior supports there from the on-site behavior board sort of certified behavior specialist that works on goals with him as well on a monthly basis. So there's a service model that people need to understand that comes with these waiver programs. There's
Yeah.
so many options on there that you can take advantage of. And
Yeah.
just knowing how to ask for them, because if you don't ask, they're not going to offer.
Right. Yeah. And even if you're on the waiver, if you don't ask, they're not going to offer.
They
Yeah.
sure not.
Yeah, I'm asking for everything because I waited 20 years. So I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
I should get everything that we need, and
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
for the waiting.
Yeah.
So
I agree
Yeah.
with that. Okay. Are
Yeah.
there a lot of day habs in our community?
It is. It's a lot of day habs. But you want to be specific on day habs too as well, because just like a group home, every day hab is not a good day hab.
Yeah.
So you just want to make sure that you're going, you're visiting, you're looking, you're seeing what they're going to be doing with your daughter. Make sure that you're able to pop up when you want to, because that's my
Yeah,
thing.
no, I know. But I
I
don't even send Mary Elizabeth to school. So can you imagine?
Yeah, I got to go. I got to pop up on Trey. So yeah.
well, one of the things for me that was a difficult task, and because Brian's very unique, where we he does not like animals at all. Like that's his fight or flight. Like
Right.
it's just
Yeah.
non-negotiable. And
Right.
there's a lot of places because of where we are in Montgomery area that more ranch driven. That have animals, which is
Yeah.
great for people that love animals. It's a no go for
Pay for Brian.
Brian. And so automatically I had to check like five off the list. I'm like, we can't go to none of those. And I'm like, I have to find something. And I'm so creative that I'm like, if I have to create this program, we
Yeah,
will create it.
I
But I
agree.
needed to make sure that he was somewhere that's going in the community, because he does
That's right.
not want to sit all day. Because
Right.
he's like, well, when are we going out? Because he's a go, 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 go. And he
Yeah.
wants that community integration. So you really got to make sure that you're touring these places,
Mhm.
because it's very difficult when our individuals are younger, like say Mary Elizabeth, if you decided, okay, I'm gonna let her go when she's 17, there's gonna be a lot of adults there.
Right.
There are gonna be a lot of older individuals there because the wait list was 20 years long.
Right.
Hmm.
Just getting on a journey. That's it. That's right.
So at 23, we might be the youngest one in the building. I mean, it's crazy sometimes to think about that, but
Yeah.
we don't have a lot of those that we say, okay, the older elderly individuals are going to be here, and then like the under 40 is it's they're all
Um,
together.
you make
Yeah.
that distinction. I would have not even thought about that. That's very helpful. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whew, ladies. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, switching gears just a bit, and then we're going to get back into some of the harder advocacy stuff. Um, I want to talk a little bit about your personal lives. Advocacy can be emotionally demanding. It's
Mm-hmm.
draining. It can make you feel crazy. Like we were just talking about the wage increase, which was actually a decrease, and everybody thinks they're doing good, and it's actually hurting us. Like it's this constant. How do you
Fighting.
practice self-care and healing in your specific lives? How do you keep going? Y'all are 20 plus years in, both of y'all. How?
Uh, First, God first.
Like
That's
it?
right.
Because one of the things that I know that he had called me for this. He
That's right.
chose me for this. He didn't burden me with this.
That's
Like
right.
God called us. This is a calling. And we know that he equips the call.
How long have
And
you felt that? How long have you felt like it was a calling versus a burden? I'm curious.
Oh,
I think I'm a little bit different because I knew that my child was different before he was even born.
Hmm.
It was the womb, everything about the
You are,
pregnancy.
you remembered before he was even born.
Oh
It
yeah.
took, it took me like 8 years. Okay, keep going. I was
Oh
just
yeah,
curious.
I knew he was
It
going to
took
be
a long time.
different because I was like, but I had some hard times in those early years.
Right.
Isolation, not going in the community. I mean, I've
mm-hmm.
spent actually an entire year of his life where we didn't go anywhere because he couldn't ride in the car because his sensory was
Yeah.
overloaded. And
Yeah.
so that could get overwhelming. I am a divorcee. I am not with Brian's biological father because he couldn't embrace the disability. And
Right.
it was a barrier to me getting him support. So I
Hmm.
went through that. I have an amazing husband that's really like he is amazing, the best replacement that you can ever ask somebody to step in and do as a
Yes,
bonus
ma'am.
dad. Um, but I know this is so important because I'm in the space, and this is and me and Angie, we talked about this, like our whole focus in 2026 is self-care for moms
That's right. That's
because
right.
we're like, I went through so many things, and a lot of times we've been each other's lifeline. I can call and we can cry, we can pray, whatever we need. You have to have a tribe. Support groups do sound ick and yick. I never had any of those when Bryant was coming through. I didn't start connecting with people till Bryant was an adult, other
Yeah.
moms,
Hmm.
because I was just like, I felt like I was on an island, and I'm like, I gotta handle it, I gotta figure it out. But we have other life things that are going on. Brian's the youngest of a blended family, so all of
Right.
my other kids are having things going
Yeah, a
on.
lot of us aren't just parenting this disabled.
That's
No,
right.
we're
Parenting a
we're
lot of
taking care of elderly
stuff.
parents, and wearing all of these other hats. And I'm telling you, sometimes it is overwhelming, but you have to start surrendering stuff and saying, God, I don't even know how this is going to work today, but I mean, you're going to have to handle it because I can't. I'm going to take my hands off of it. But I
Right.
would say prayer. I would
Yeah.
say finding your person that you
Hmm.
can connect with, that you can cry with, that you can pray with. Go get a therapist.
Yeah.
Go get a therapist. Talk to
So
somebody.
true. Yeah.
Yep.
But
Sometimes
spend
I
a
think like
day.
sometimes I think like because it's all the time, right? Like we can't check out of this life. Like I always think about that when moms are like, "How are you doing?" and we're like, "Oh, okay, hanging in there, whatever." Let's say you have a neurotypical kiddo, they're going to teeth and then they're going to grow those teeth and they're going to eat. They're going to be fine. They're going to, like they have these little phases, right? Where things are hard, but like we are in a forever phase of
We're
caregiving.
forever moms.
And
Yeah.
so, that's so important that you said that because like it's not going to go away or change. So while we are in the thick of it, we have to be doing this self-care thing. Um,
And self-care doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going on this lavish trip.
it's
Go
not.
walk in
It
nature.
never is. Right. For
Go
me.
take 30 minutes. I mean, sometimes for me, it's just being in the car, not having the radio on. I'm hearing myself breathe, having a discussion with myself, teaching, and sometimes it's just breathing.
With the
It's just
seat you're
breathing.
on. Yes.
Go get a cup of coffee by yourself. Go
Yeah.
have lunch by yourself. Sometimes we don't have to, like, we feel like we have to fill this space with people.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And I'm so intentional in this time because I've been in a leader and having other people look for me for different things. And I'm like, I step back in a lot of places and I'm like, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah. No, you can't.
Even if it's just sitting out and just listening to the birds chirp for 10 minutes.
That's what I do. That's my self-care. I
Oh
go
my
That's
sit.
what
God. Hug a
Sarah.
tree. Go walk out in nature. But find a way to get away from stuff and people. Even if it's just sitting in the sun for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
self care doesn't have to be expensive. Somebody told us we had to be paying for stuff, buying stuff,
So
and
that's the
I don't
capitalist
need
stuff.
stuff.
That's what we're trying to fight. Right. It's supposed to be
No,
free. Right.
it's free. Air is free. Go breathe it.
That's right. And hug a tree. And I'm doing that, y'all. Angela's
Hug
laughing.
a
She
tree.
knows I'm
I
doing
can't.
that in my
Hug a
backyard.
tree. Hug a tree.
What do you do, Angela? What do you do to stay healthy and to keep your cup full so that you can continue
You know,
going?
I joke with Tanika all the time. I just tell her I stay away from the coconuts. But I'm be very honest. For me, Sarah, I'm not gonna be apologetic for taking care of me and having some time for me. And so my thing for me is I like to go out and eat
Love it.
by myself. My second thing is being in my vehicle. I take a drive at night as well to just clear my head and my mind frame of what everything that's going on because you're tackling you're advocating not only for your kids but you're tackling everybody else's situation too,
Right.
you
It's
know.
hard to be in this space and not have it bleed all over, right? Like,
It's hard to be in a
All over the
space
place.
where we're professional, in a sense where me and Angie we're in spaces where everybody's looking for us to be, and sometimes we're like we are in the same. We're here today, just like you. We want to receive just like you want to receive, and sometimes it's a hard
yeah.
balance. And sometimes she knows, like, I check out in situations, like, I will mentally check out. I'll be just
Yeah.
like, I'm checked out of this because I'm an empath and I can't talk to somebody without trying to figure out and how to solve their problem.
Yeah.
So I have to turn it off sometimes because it's difficult.
Yep,
Yeah.
and
Because you
I'm
want to
definitely.
fix stuff. You want to be like, let's save everybody. And
Yep,
So true. Yeah. No, that my
and that's the thing with
therapist
me.
told me, not your circus, not your monkeys.
there you go.
Yes, yes.
I'm like,
That's the thing with
okay.
me and Tanika. We want to be able to help every. The thing of it is, no, we're not leaving nobody behind. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? But it becomes difficult because people feel like you have to. They want you to hold their hand. They want you to take them step by step. You want you. In the meantime, I'm dealing with my two, my 70-year-old mama, my daughter that's 35 years old. You know, I'm dealing with my sisters, my all my family situation, life crisis, and everything. I call Tanika sometimes just on edge, just trying to get it,
We've
maintain
talked
it.
each other off the cliff on a
Yeah,
consistent basis.
because
Yeah.
I
We
be
Literally.
all
about to
have
drive
that.
that little
Yeah. I
Jeep
love
right
that.
off. I be about to drive my little Jeep right off the bridge. Like I'm like, oh
But
no.
isn't it amazing how that's all it takes? It's just like 2 or 3 minutes on the phone with your bestie.
Yeah,
And because you really do want to drive off the cliff. And then at the end of those 2 minutes, you're like laughing.
Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
It is crazy
yes,
because and then we have to laugh at ourselves like, you know what, this is real crazy that we even have to
do.
live this stuff.
It's so true.
We
I'm
do.
so
We
glad. Yes,
do.
thank
We
you. I
do.
feel that way too. I feel like a lot of times if I didn't laugh, there would be no other option. So we just have to laugh at like, can you
And some people
we're
ask me,
doing
Sarah. Some people ask me all the time, like when I'm having a conversation or I'm talking to some, and sometimes I just started to laugh, or I might start smiling. Go, what you laughing at? Oh, it's just funny. Like I just had a feeling.
You gotta laugh to keep
Because
from
I just
crying.
have to just, yeah. Because I don't want you to think I'm crazy. But at the end of the day, yeah, I'm crazy. But I'm trying to
I'm on a
laugh to keep
string.
from
I'm on
being
a
too
string.
crazy. That part,
call it
yeah.
the good kind of crazy around here, but
That part,
But I think
yes.
at the end of the day, what we do really does empower us
yeah.
to really know that our transgressions, our stories, our
Yeah.
testimonies, our things, our everything was here for somebody else.
That's
Yeah.
We
right.
went through it
That's
to
right.
help somebody
Yeah,
else.
That's
exactly.
right. It's
And
not
so,
about me. It's not about us. It's not about. It's about giving out and giving to the community and being a
About the
help to
collective.
somebody else that you don't know that might be in a situation like I was that mom. I'm gonna piggyback a little bit off what Tanika was saying. The isolation, the stuff like that. You, me as a mom, being hit, physically attacked, physically, approached aggressively. My son leaving out 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, no sleep,
Yeah.
So all of that situation can just take over everything. And for me, that became a lot. And so you have to have that time for yourself. You have to be able to have that space for yourself and yours in that time for yourself. It's so very important. I talk about it all the time, and being in a situation with my son, being running in the house and running back and forth for my son, and he's leaving out in the middle of the night and stuff like that. That can become very exhausting for anyone, you know.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
you just have to take that time for yourself. You really, really do. It's so important.
And you said it earlier, and I just want to say it again because I think we've all done that work so that we can say that. It's the most important thing we can do, right? Like it's not, we're picking ourselves, choosing ourselves, taking the time, doing the self care, going to dinner by ourselves, sitting outside with the birds, hugging the trees, um, getting in the car in the quiet. Like we have to do those to survive. I am 100% certain of that. I did not know that 4 or 5 years ago. I thought I could figure it all out. And I know now that if I do not do that on the regular, whether I feel stressed or not, I will not make it. I know
Yep.
that.
And you know what, Sarah? I noticed that too. Not only when you came to my coffee talk and you was in the distress that you was, I understood it and I felt it because not only was God there and present, but I was a mama. I was isolated for years. I was almost 300 pounds with my son Trey.
Yeah.
So wasn't coming out, wasn't doing anything, just, all over the place, dealing with my other children, trying to get them for school and stuff and trying to work as a mom. And so all of that can be very overwhelming. So yes, you have to take that self-love for you.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. We have to. We have to, have to. Okay. Ladies, anything that we haven't talked about? I know we definitely hit on some really important stuff. We went a little off track, which I think needs to be spoken about. There's a lot of stuff that still needs to be
Woo!
talked
We could be
about.
on here all day.
I'm going to give you an opportunity. Anything else that we want to talk about today? And if not, then I have a final question for y'all. But we could also keep going. We're doing we've been doing about an hour. So
yeah, and I have to jump out and run to a meeting in a minute. But what I want to do, leave you guys with is that one of the things that helped me because I walked through this maze, and I
mhm.
remember moving to Texas and being in my office at home, and I'm like, I was literally in tears because I was like, I have all of this information that they're throwing at me. Call this person, call that person, go over here, go over there. It's overwhelming. And I was like, this is a full-time job. And I
Yeah.
made the decision. I was like, my background is I have a computer science degree and I was doing real estate at the time.
Hmm.
And I'm like, at some point, you had to pivot because I'm like, put all of my being into learning these systems, these processes,
Yeah.
these services, educating myself, and reinventing myself to make sure that I could walk my son through every stage of his life and to be able to walk somebody else through that path because it's a horrible journey to be walking through this and don't have no idea. It's like walking in the wilderness without a
Yep.
guide, without a supply, without a map. And I feel like it's very important for parents to just have a conversation, get started somewhere,
Right.
start
Right.
a
And find
plan.
somebody to help you. Find somebody.
Find
Yes, find
somebody to
somebody.
help you with
Yes.
a plan because otherwise, I get calls from people, their kids are 21. They're like, my kid just turned 21. What do we do now? Like, they're just getting started. And
Yeah.
it's a journey. It's a journey. There's so many things that were, missed opportunities. And just having that conversation, reaching out and getting some support, having moms that you connect with, whether it's a tribe, it doesn't have to be a support group, but
Right.
find somebody that I was always attracted to adult people that had adult kids when my son was young. Because I'm like, if they made it, I think we could make it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because I
That's
didn't
right.
think we were going to make it.
Yeah, no,
And
I know.
that's where those resources and having
Yeah.
conversations, that's where that stuff comes into place.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah.
love it.
I would
And
definitely say stay plugged in. Definitely keep a communication line. You know, you want to be able to have somebody that you can talk to. You don't want to take this journey alone because it's a lonely journey already. You know, and everybody's journey is different. I talk about that all the time in my coffee talks. Another thing I want you mamas to know is to know your rights. If I
yeah.
don't say anything more today on this podcast, know your rights. Know what you have. Know what you need to know about, and so the steps you can follow and be able to take care of your child. And also, being a mom, having a son in a group home and stuff like that, be his advocate, of course, but make sure you pop up and make sure you're there.
So
You know,
you're
don't trust so
yeah.
many
Oh my
people when it
God.
comes to the group homes and the day halves and stuff like that. I'm that cray cray mom. I pop up. And so yeah, so make sure you do that and it don't matter when it is, just keep in contact and keep a communication line with those people as well. And you know, just make sure you have somebody to connect with. That's so important. You got to have somebody to connect with. You cannot do this journey by yourself. It's a lonely journey, and if you trying to do it by yourself, you're going to have a meltdown.
You
Just like
will.
your
Right.
kid.
Not a
Just like your
hero. That's
kid.
not the right way. Right. Yeah. 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 I love it. Okay, ladies. Thank y'all so much. We are going to post in the show notes Tanika's site, God Advocacy. Post about the next coffee talk, which is actually this Friday, a couple
I
days,
At
can't
God
wait.
Advocacy.
right?
Yes.
And we are going to post links for the LIDDA and for the TWC of the things that we talked about. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate your time. I am in awe and inspired by the two of you. Like Tanika said, I'm looking at the women who've been doing it longer and saying, how are they doing that so that I can do the same thing? And so we're looking to you guys for wisdom and expertise. And y'all are doing it with a servant's heart, which is, amazing. Yeah.
And
Okay.
there's a
Only with
resource
God.
page on my website that has direct links to a lot of the stuff that we talked about, like those LIDDAs, getting connected with Texas Workforce. There's a lot of links on the resource page of my website that will link them directly to a lot of those things we talked about.
Okay, perfect, y'all. Thank you so much.
Love you
Check
so
out.
much, Sarah. You're amazing yourself.
Thank you
We
for all
appreciate
that you
you.
do.
We
Yes.
really appreciate you. Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Well, I am only appreciating y'all. You know that. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah,
Yeah, you are a powerhouse. You're awesome. Mary Elizabeth is very lucky to have you as a mom. You speak volumes for a lot of women that are in the same position and wheelchair bound and special needs. So what you do and what you bring to the community is wonderful. Like I love you.
well,
And I
thank
thank you
you.
for giving me
I
this
love
opportunity to
you too.
be on your podcast.
Thank you. I love y'all too. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank
Keep
you.
laughing. Keep fighting.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, ladies.
Bye bye.